What's up, guys? We just wrapped up the 2022 tournament season for the Barra ABT Tour, and I thought I'd make this video just going through some of the different techniques with lures, rods, line, and even the sounders on the boat and everything in between that helped us get a win in one of the comps as well as do well in some of the other events. So I've been holding off on doing this video for quite a while now because I've got some big plans for next year, and I wanted to make sure that they were confirmed before I went through it with you guys and told you all the ins and outs of it. So I just got an email the other day confirming that, so I'm looking forward to telling you guys that. That's at the end of the video, but for now I'm just going to go through some of the lures and techniques that helped us get a win, and yeah, hopefully you can learn a little bit from the video. So let's get into it. So one of the main techniques that we caught a lot of fish on was catching fish suspended out in the middle of the dam. Now these fish might have related to either creek beds, main river channels, or big underwater points that you wouldn't find unless you sort of mapped it out for a little bit. And what we found is these fish were only suspending about 10 foot under the water. And this worked in Teembra, Kinchin, Proserpine, all three of the dams. And didn't matter how deep you were. We were in Teembra, we were out in 120 foot and we were catching metre plus fish suspended just 10 foot under the water. It was insane. You put the live scope down and you don't realise how much life is going on out there. There's just bait balls spread out through the whole water column and the Barra out there feeding on them. So the main technique that we use out there 99% of the time is throwing the DS80 suspending jerkbait. These get down to about just over 10 foot. We can get them down to 15, 20 foot if you do it a nice long cast, but we don't want them going too deep, so we're only doing short casts at these fish. And what happens is we just drift with the wind. We put the pole down, have the LVS 34 in the water. Me and Josh will both stand at the front, and as we drift down, you'll see maybe one fish or a pack of 3 of them. And once you see them, you've got to figure out what way they're swimming. Put the cast in front of them, bring it down nice and slow. You don't want to rip it into them because when you wind it too fast, it'll spook them. So just a nice slow wind, draw the fish in, and then as soon as they see it, you'll see them, they'll be swimming and then they'll just stop. As soon as they stop, you do not move the lure. And if they stay there and they sort of start to come over, if they're coming in slow, usually we'll just leave it. If they're coming in hot, you can give it a twitch and it'll fire them up a bit more. But most of the time, you want to just leave it for as long as you can. It's pretty hard to. I know that Josh was screaming at me sometimes saying like, don't move it. Because sometimes we'll be there for almost 20 seconds until they bite it. They'll be right underneath it, just looking at it. And eventually they'll eat it for some reason, I don't know what it is. But that's what comes into play, is you need a super perfect suspending jerkbait, and these Reddics are ideal. So the rod I was using for that was a 7 foot C12, and it's only a 10 to 17 pound, it's a medium heavy, so it's pretty light. It's probably the lightest sort of rod you want to go with the Barra. And I was fishing that with the Tranks 150, and that just helps fire at those casts. A nice light rod, light reel. Helps you get those nice long casts out in the wind, with the wind, and it's super sensitive, like you can feel everything through that blank. So, and the braid I've been using lately, this whole year I've been using the X-Braid Upgrade Pentagram, and I've been using it in 50 pound. In the past I've used thicker braid that was only 35 or 30 pound, but this new X-Braid is so thin, it's the same diameter as 30 pound, but it's almost twice as strong, so it's awesome. You get super sensitive line, nice and thin. It casts a bit further, which is great, and it still ties it to big leader. So it's been an awesome braid I've been using all year. We've been winching fish out of the trees with it, so can't fault it. And then at Pricey, when we're up shallow, we were fishing everywhere between almost 2 foot, like we're up in the 3 foot of water, up to about 6 or 7 foot. And on a long cast, these Reddics, because they go a bit deeper, they would sort of hit the bottom if we did too far of a cast. So that's when we pulled out the new MS90. So this is only 10 mil bigger than the original Reddick, and this is a MS, so it's only a medium swim. And we found that this one only got down to maybe 6 foot on a really good cast, and they come out out of the box with YS81s. They're super beefy, through wire construction, strong as, and we'd use this up in the shallows, and this color in Faust in the dirty water was out fishing everything. I think not one fish on this shied away from it, whereas if I use a more of a natural color or a blander color, they will sort of shy off. So that's definitely an awesome color for that dirty water. So they should be out the next year soon. So definitely keep an eye out for them. And then what got us a lot of fish was fishing big plastics. A lot of the time, the whole trip, we pretty much, well, in the tournament, I don't think we caught many fish that we didn't see them eat the lure. So pretty much every fish we were casting at, making sure that every cast counted. And we were fishing these big plastics, a bit of a reaction bite. Just running 2 stingers on that one. And that's a Molex 140. I know a lot of people fish that nowadays, but they still work, which is pretty good. And I've thrown that on another 7-foot rod. That's a Zing Extreme V2, 12 to 25 pound. It's super gutsy. You can still fire at those Molex. I know a lot of times we're actually casting into the wind because we were fishing out of the front of the boat. And you just need that nice, strong, powerful rod to punch the lure into the wind and not get your bird's nest and all that sort of stuff. So fishing that with a 200 bait cast, 50 pound X-braid again. And then on the leader, I was using everywhere between 70 to 80 pound X-braid fluorocarbon. And then when we were vibing, we had a lot of fish come under the boat. And I know a month before the comp, me and a mate went up and fished Faust just to get a bit of an idea. And it was super cold. I couldn't get them to eat much except the reddick. And then I thought, okay, now it's tough. It's probably a good time to try this new vibe. And this thing absolutely smashed them. I think I got 1 bite on a reddick, dropped it, and I dropped this down, and the first fish that seen it sucked it down its throat, and that was just under the meter. So super impressed with these. They're a slow sinking vibe. They come in a couple different sizes. I know this is the size that we're using most of the time when it's windy, and then when the wind dropped down, we're using that next size smaller. So it's a lot smaller, it sinks a bit slower, and that color again, white bait, just seems to fish really well. And what we're doing with the live scope is you could either see fish situated up high in the water column. That's when we would hit them with the reddick. And if they're mid-water, we're sort of fishing with the plastic. And if they're hard on the bottom, you'd see them swim along the bottom with their nose down looking for stuff on the bottom. And what you could do is you could sink this just in front of them. You just hop it and it sort of just slow floats down rather than plummeting down like the original vibe. This gives them a lot more time to eat it, and because they're light, they suck it right down the back of their throat, so you don't hook them on the outside of the face anymore. They proper eat these things. And on that, I was just fishing that on the 7-foot, 10 to 20 pound C12 again, just with the 4000 Stratic, 50 pound braid again, and on there I was running 60 or 70 pound fluorocarbon, because a lot of the time these fish were choking on this lure, so you want to make sure you got pretty beefy leader on there to keep up with them. Another rod that we used, we didn't catch many fish on big plastics, but we caught a couple on the pre-fish, and now we're just on these big 7-inch plastics. And this rod is absolutely awesome. It's 15 to 30 pound. It's almost 8 foot in length. It is super gutsy. Fires out those big plastics with ease, and it turns over fish really quickly, but you do tend to break gear if you go too hard on them. So you still back your drag off a bit, and you can get them in pretty easy. But that was also a bit of fun throwing that big stuff. And one of the new leaders from X-Braid that I really like for the reddicks is this new 52 pound. So it's thinner and it's stronger than original 50 pound. So it's super wiry. I don't think I got chewed off once on this, which is awesome. There's not many leaders you don't get chewed off on, so the whole trip didn't get chewed off on that 50 pound at all. Super thin, casts really well, and it doesn't distort the action on those small little jerk baits. So those are pretty much the main techniques that we used throughout the tournament, just depending on what sort of depth we were fishing, if we were out in the middle or up shallow in 6 foot of water, or even helping vibes out in 15 foot. We'd use those different techniques. All right, another thing I wanted to talk about was the Maui Jim sunglasses as well. I know there's the traditional copper sort of shade is awesome when you're fishing high sun conditions. It definitely penetrates the water almost better than any other color. But Maui Jim have got 4 different colors. They got the bronze, they got gray, as well as 2 different colors that I've never actually used before that I got sponsorship with them. And they're called Rose and HT lens. And the Rose lens is one of the highest transmitting colors there is. And when you put them on in high sun conditions, it takes a while for your eyes to adjust, but all the colors underwater just pop and it makes it really easy to see those fish. And one of my favorite lenses are the HT lenses. They're like a really light green color, and HT stands for high transmission. So it lets in a high amount of light, so it keeps everything nice and bright, but still protects 95% of UV sun rays from coming in and hurting your eyes. And I've got a pterygium in my eye, so I like to wear sunnies as much as I can because I've spent too much time in the sun already. And what this allows me to do, when it's overcast, when it's sunny, or if I'm fishing a bank with structure and it's overhanging, I can still wear sunnies and still see in there because it doesn't darken it all up. So especially on the Barra tour, late in the afternoons, you don't have to take your sunnies off so early and get your eyes punished by the high winds that you usually fish in. So having those HT lenses is definitely a big tool to keep you a bit more comfortable out in the water. It's definitely well worth looking into. And I actually wear them most of the time on these thicker frame sunnies because it protects my eyes so much more out of the sun and keeps the wind out of your eyes a bit more. So definitely well worth looking out for those lenses. Righto, we might go through all the electronics in the boat now because they are one of the biggest players in helping me find fish and helping me catch fish. And without the Garmin technology on this boat, there's no way I would have caught as many fish as we did on the comp. And you need all this technology to keep up with some of the guys in the tournament series because they're absolute guns in these lakes and they know how to catch them. They fish them all the time. So when you come up, you've got to be on your A game and you've got to be able to find every little bit underwater. So the Garmin Live Scope has helped me so much. I've learned so much from it. And if you haven't got it, you definitely got to look into getting it because it'll change the way you fish. So we'll go have a look at that now. All right, so this is the setup that we've got on the boat. We've been fishing it like this for the last couple of years now. We've just got the rod pane pole set up on the front with a couple of ram mounts. The 8416, it's awesome screen. It's probably one of the best screens you can use for live scope. And then the Garmin Force trolling motor, that thing is bulletproof. Super quiet, they use no power because they're a brushless motor, so they're great. And what the idea is this, is we have the pole set up on the front. Down here we have the LBS 34 on perspective view. And we pretty much use perspective view the whole time. Such an awesome way to see heaps of fish, see your lure and everything. And having that set up there was ideal. So up the front too, what helped us a lot was this hydro wave. And what that allows us to do is pull bait under the boat and also mask the sound of the boat. So definitely awesome little tool to have on the boat as well. So that pretty much wraps up all the gear that we use, the sounders at the front and everything in between. And I just want to say thank you so much to all my amazing sponsors. Buck and Bass, without that rain suit technology, there's no way I could have fished all those late nights. I know the Barramundi Open, I was out to midnight and it was raining. It's raining so hard and super cold, and I had the rain jacket on. I got home and I did not get one bit of water through me. So if you're looking into doing these tournaments and doing it seriously, you've got to look after yourself, not only with eye protection and everything, but your rain suit, it helps you so much out in the water just to stay out for a bit longer and stay comfortable while you're fishing. So thank you so much to all my sponsors, Barra Jacks as well, Green Marine Lithium, and obviously the workshop here, Sunshine Coast Marine Electrical Doctor. We sell Garmin and we love to use it as well. So if you're looking at buying it, definitely come give us a call. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, or online, and we send units all over the country. So give us a call if you need any electronics or you need your boat rewired. We can help you with all that. Righto, let's get into the plans for next year. So I've actually signed up for 4 Bassmaster Open events as a co-angler and 4 Marshall events in the elites. So I'm going for 3 months. I'm going in to learn as much as I can, and my end goal is eventually to get over there and compete in the Opens and hopefully qualify for the Bassmaster Elite Series. It's been a dream of mine since I was a kid, and seeing Carl do it is obviously a big inspiration. So he come over with Jeff Gustafson and I got to meet them both and talk to them. So it was awesome having those guys just to sort of bounce ideas off. And Carl gave me a really good run through on what the best plan is to sort of start getting my foot in the door, learn as much as I can. And he said, just go over there for 3 months, just fish the whole time, learn, fish tournaments, meet people, make contacts. And then from there, obviously, hopefully in 2025, I'm going to sell everything I got here and compete in the open events and try and hopefully qualify for the Elite Series. So it's pretty exciting. I'm going over on March 20th and I've got 3 months, so I'm leaving on June 20th. So we're going over with the ABT crew, watch the Bassmaster Classic, and it's going to be an awesome experience. I'm so excited, and I'm going to try and bring you guys along with the ride. I'm going to film everything. I'm going to have the GoPro chest mount running the whole time. Going to get a little camera so I can film everything, the road trips and all that. So it's going to be pretty cool to do all that sort of stuff as well. So all of this is going to cost quite a bit of money. So I've decided to make a couple of supporter jerseys. So Josh from Samaki, I've sort of been talking to him a little bit, and I've been teaming up with my sponsors to get their logos printed on the shirt, and I'm going to sell them through a website. So if you guys want to support me over there, help me out a little bit financially, be awesome just to see you guys even wearing the shirt. It's going to be pretty epic. I've got like the same sort of camo as the boat under the shoulder, black, white and blue. So it'd be a pretty cool little jersey. And if you guys buy that, it's going to help me out massively over there just to keep me on the road. So pretty excited. Got a lot of stuff to do, a lot of prepping, and looking forward to getting over there. So thank you everyone. Thank you ABT for an amazing year again. Without Steve and Nicole, there would be no high-end tournament series in Australia. So definitely look after those guys. Thank you so much for supporting me. And I hope to see you guys in 2023 for another awesome year. Thanks guys.